You're listening to Oh Crap with Jamie. This is a podcast for parents working hard to break the cycles while dropping the F-bomb a lot. I'm your host, Jamie Glowacki, and I am the author of Oh Crap Potty Training and Oh Crap I Have a Toddler. And I am so happy you're here. Hey guys, welcome to the first bite-sized nugget. These are going to be shorter podcasts that will be released in addition to my regular longer form podcast, because there are some topics and ideas that don't warrant a full-length podcast, but need to be said. And so I'm going to jump right in with what needs to be said this week, which is stop saying, I'm concerned I'm traumatizing my child, or I think I'm traumatizing him. When we use the word trauma or traumatized, it activates our nervous system. We go into the sympathetic state because trauma is a big loaded word. And so when we start using that in everyday language, it can get us on like this high alert feeling that we need to stop what we're doing because I'm traumatizing my kids. People who are traumatizing their children don't care if they're traumatizing their children. So that's a really good litmus test. Okay. Much like I say, if you are listening to parenting podcasts or reading parenting books, you are in the upper echelon of parenting simply by caring about your parenting, because plenty of people don't. So I do want to go over big trauma, big T trauma, and little T trauma. So big T trauma is overt trauma that needs to be worked through. And certainly some kids will go through that for various reasons, some that we cannot control. Then there's little T trauma, and little T trauma still may affect you, but it won't affect your psyche, your mental health, your well-being, your future the way big T trauma will. Little T trauma happens to everyone, and none of us come out of life unscathed. Okay. Life is a full contact sport, which means we will encounter some adversity that will form us, that will be a left turn instead of a right, that will shape who we are, but they do not require therapy. They do not require working through. They don't wreck relationships. They are things like maybe a teacher humiliated you when you were speaking in front of the class, and now you don't like to give speeches. Understandably, that can be worked through. That is not a personality trait. That is not the same as the overt trauma. I want to read off the questionnaire from the ACE scale. So the ACE scale is Adverse Childhood Experiences. And this is a scale, it's 10 questions that if you answer yes to more than 4, you likely have big T trauma, and that it needs to be worked on. This will affect your psyche, your well-being, your relationships, and possibly your entire life. And so it needs serious attention. And I'd like to read off a few of the questions just so we get some perspective and you start to realize why you saying, I think I'm traumatizing my kid because they're having a fit about something, or you're making them do something they don't like, is not trauma. Okay. So let's go over a few of the questions. I won't do the whole thing. There is abuse. There's emotional abuse. Did a parent or other adult in the household swear at you, insult you, put you down, regularly humiliate you, or make you afraid you might be physically hurt? Physical abuse. Did a parent or other adult in the household often push, grab, slap, or throw something at you, or ever hit you so hard that they left marks or you were injured? Sexual abuse. Did an adult or someone at least 5 years older than you ever touch you sexually, try to make you touch them sexually, or actually have oral, anal, or vaginal sex with you? And I think this is really important that it's distinguished that they are 5 years older than you, because a lot of times children under the age of 8 will, play with each other in a way that we know is not appropriate. However, they are just exploring. And so that doesn't create sexual trauma unless you overreact. Neglect. Emotional neglect. Did you often feel that no one in your family loved you or thought you were important or special, or that your family didn't look out for each other, feel close to each other, or support each other? Physical neglect. Did you often feel that you didn't have enough to eat, had to wear dirty clothes, or had no one to protect you, or that your parents were too drunk or high to take care of you or take you to the doctor if needed? There's household dysfunction. Domestic violence. Did your mother or stepmother often get pushed, grabbed, slapped, or have something thrown at her? Was she kicked, bitten, hit with a fist, or repeatedly hit over several minutes? Substance abuse. Did you live with anybody who has a problem with alcohol or who used street drugs? Mental illness. Was a household member depressed, mentally ill, or attempted suicide? So those are just some of the questions. And just to give you some perspective, okay, those are pretty egregious things. And so I would really like to, talk about now what's not traumatizing. And I want to amend what I just said. So when two children are playing doctor or exploring each other's bodies, it is of course a question of what 5 years. There's a difference between an 11-year-old and a 16-year-old, and a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. So obviously that's going to take some nuance, but generally speaking, a lot of kids will explore with each other. And again, how the adults handle it often has a lot to do with how it all plays out. I also do want to remind you that trauma is usually not about the actual event, but it is about what isn't said or done after the event. So a lot of times I grew up in a domestic violence household, and one of the real hard things was nobody talking about the screaming elephant in the room. So that is, a lot of times it is how things are handled, which is now, we believe people about sexual abuse, generally speaking, especially kids, because so many people used to not acknowledge it. And that is actually where the trauma lies. Now, it's really important to go over what is not traumatizing and how it's getting conflated in our current society of sort of overparenting, hypervigilant parenting, and like this kind of walking on eggshells to keep our kids happy at all costs, which just turns into permissive parenting. So some things that aren't traumatizing, okay? Unhappiness, your child being unhappy. And I'm talking about just regular unhappy. If your child is showing signs of depression or anxiety or true unhappiness, then of course that needs to be examined. I'm talking about they didn't get the blue cup instead of the red cup. You know what I mean? They got the blue cup instead of the red cup. That kind of unhappy. The opposite of happy is not trauma, it's unhappy. And we are all going to experience unhappy, unpleasant, uncomfortable throughout our lives. And that actually is what builds resilience, being able to handle those feelings, letting them wash over us, wash through us, and bounce back. Again, I'm not talking about a deep-seated unhappiness where you really think something is wrong. Something else that's not traumatizing is you losing your shit on your kids and then repairing. This is why repair is so vital, right? Because if you lose your shit on your kids and you don't repair, you do that often enough, and yes, you will cause some damage. I would venture to say that you don't necessarily cause trauma, but you can do some damage. Now, if you are regularly losing your shit and repairing, that's not cool either. Like, repair is good because we all lose it at some point, but it's up to us to figure out why we're losing our shit. And that's stuff we have to work on. Kids are going to be kids. We can't expect kids to show up and be well regulated when we ourselves don't know how to be well regulated. So if it's a regular pattern, then yeah, you want to fix it. But if you're repairing and it's once in a while, that is not traumatizing. Making children do something they don't want to do. Okay. Examples, car seats. We have all put a knee to our kids' chest to buckle them into the car seat. Yes. Going to the doctors, getting a shot, giving medicine. People have had to hold a child down, open their mouth, get the medicine in because their child needs it. That is also a place you can repair. You can say, I am sorry, I had to hold you down because we need to get this medicine in your mouth. I am sorry. And now we're all done. That is, you can repair for even those things. Okay. But we do certain things because we have to keep our child healthy and in their best well-being. Same thing goes for grabbing them really roughly if they are doing something extremely dangerous and we are saving their life or saving them from getting seriously injured. Same thing. Okay. A child in distress is not traumatizing, okay? And I'm not talking about a child who's in distress because they're hungry or they're soaking wet and it's freezing out. Like, not that kind of distress. The distress, again, of normal childhood. Remember, kids have extremely big feelings. They are raw with their feelings. And so a child being in distress because they have to get medicine, because they need to potty train, because you're working through a pooping problem, these kinds of distress do not mean you're traumatizing your child. It means they're having a high emotion, and you may have to do something like give them medicine or give them an EpiPen or give them an insulin shot. That it may just be a thing that has to happen. And again, that's up to us to be strong and confident that we can do this, even if it requires, wrestling a wriggling alligator. Losing a pet is not traumatizing, you guys. I don't care how much you love your pet. Every person, every family loves their pets to death. This is not a reason. I don't think any child under 6 should actually have any psychotherapy. It's not helpful. And I know of people who are like, I don't know if I should take my kid to therapy. You don't need to go to therapy for losing a pet. That is part and parcel of life. Same thing with losing an extended family member. Obviously, if a parent dies, yes, that child is going to need a lot of support. But losing even a very close, like grandmother, this is part of life. Losing people is part of life. Dying is part of life. And so the more we handle it in a better way, the better we handle it, I guess I should say, has everything to do with it. And these are all life events that we don't have to shield children from, and we don't have to lump into trauma. We've become a trauma drenched society, and it's too much. We don't have to put such a heavy word, because when we layer that heavy word on it, it becomes a different animal. And now you have to back off. If you think you're traumatizing your kid, of course you're not going to do that thing. But a lot of times, if it's just high emotion, because that's what a kid does, now you're kind of giving into something, or potentially not helping them do something that they need to. I have met people whose kids their teeth are rotting out of their mouth because the parents were like, no, I'm not traumatizing him by making him brush his teeth. I'm not holding him down so I can brush his teeth. That's criminal, to let your child's teeth rot because you don't want to do the heavy lifting. And that's not traumatizing to a child. So let's all collectively put a cap on that word when we're talking about our kids having high reactions. All right, that was your bite-sized nugget. Rock on, you guys. Okay, bye everyone. Just a reminder, if you need additional resources, I have Oh Crap Potty Training. I have Oh Crap, I Have a Toddler. Those books are available everywhere you want to find a book. You can also go to my website, jamieglowacki.com, where you can book private sessions with me, buy any of my courses. Those are really geared towards potty training help. And also I'm on Instagram. I'm not on Facebook anymore, and I'm not on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, jamie.glowacki, and I do a lot of lives and usually posting a lot of good information. So those are extra resources for you. And as always, rock on. Have an awesome day.